Hello, my name is Duran Bush, and I have decided, because of the coronavirus situation, to do an online field trip of the National Aquarium in Washington, D.C. This museum not only interests me because it is in the city of Washington, D.C., but also because it is the first virtual aquarium experience that I have done before, and it was interesting to learn about all different kinds of new marine species and habitats that I have never seen before through this virtual experience. The most significant thing that I learned through this experience is the power of technology when it comes to viewing aquariums, because never before did I think that I could view an actual aquarium through my computer. And it was interesting to do something like this because it's something I'd never done before. And it was interesting to see all the different marine animals and species that live there without actually having to go to the aquarium. But a good thing that I learned that these aquariums are doing, or at least the one in DC, is still functioning to ensure that the marine animals that they have at their aquariums are surviving through this pandemic that is affecting all of us, including their own aquariums. It is good to hear that there are people that are willing to take time out of their days to go and help support these animals to ensure that they stay alive through this pandemic, and give people the opportunity to understand and explore these different marine species, not only for our generation, but so future generations can also learn what we learned through these aquariums. An example of one of these marine species is giant kelp, which is a photosynthetic brown algae that is found in the ocean and in this aquarium. The scientific name of giant kelp is shown on screen, and an interesting fact about this scientific name is that there are only 4 other species in this genus that have a similar scientific name. An example of how giant kelp is built for its marine environment is the holdfast, which basically is a root-like system that ensures that giant kelp is not pulled from the sediment that is holding it in place. Another example of why giant kelp is important for its ecosystem is its importance on the food web, because a giant kelp is important for other animals to eat because it photosynthesizes the nutrients, which is then consumed by other organisms to produce its very own nutrients through its systems and produce the needed nutrients for survival for these other organisms that feed on the giant kelp. Another marine organism that I learned on this virtual tour was the Oscar fish, which is a species that is located in South America, China, Australia, and the United States. The scientific name for this species is Ostrotas ocellatus, which is a pretty interesting scientific name for the Oscar fish. This fish eats other smaller fish and also insects that live in the habitat that live around this fish. An interesting survival tactic that this kind of fish has is that it can change its color of its scales from a darker or brighter color depending on the environment around the fish. An interesting fact about both these organisms is that they are both eaten by humans and are consumed for their energy and nutrients, just like other animals that consume them and eat them in their own ecosystem. I learned many things through this experience of exploring this virtual tour, and some things that relate to the course is the different tactics that marine organisms use to protect themselves from their predators, also of the different nutrients and salinity that each of these species need to survive. One of the most important concepts that I learned from this trip is the importance of salinity for each organism to survive in its own habitat because of the different needs of each organism's chemical makeup. Also, the need of each organism's own food web, which they need to survive. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation on the National Aquarium in Washington, D.C.